In this video, I'm going to be sewing the main bag portion of the backpack from jeans. Now let me just show you. This is the jeans with the inner seams ripped out, and that's basically what the backpack is going to look like, except it's going to have a bottom and the flap and the straps and all of that. This is also a skirt. So if you want to make a denim skirt, you wouldn't need the pattern piece for the future, I don't think, unless you want to size patterns for a skirt for yourself. But you basically cut the jeans to the length that you want, rip out the inner seams, and you will see on the inside what I have done is now pin those seams differently than for pants. So let me put this down. I'm going to be using my 1891 white treadle to sew this with. So after you've ripped out your seams, you are going to repin them so that the two front legs go together and the two back legs go together. Now, in pants, this is the back, which has a wider dip or curve than the front. So what you want to do, so that you don't end up with a lot of extra fabric in the back, whether it's a skirt or a backpack, you want to pin it like that. And I would say choose a 5/8 inch seam allowance through this whole project. So that puts it about here. But you can see that when you get up to here, where this big curve is, where you're actually going is over here. So you end up with all of this extra fabric. And what I generally do is even it out. So in other words, when I set this at the machine to sew, I'm averaging out the path of getting from one place to another. So let's just get that in there so it stays in place. And if I go straight, if I sew straight up, I'm then going to have to follow the curve. But at the same time, you don't want this extreme, you don't want a curvy seam, you don't want to pull the backpack in too far. So you start, let me set up the angle and kind of show you what I'm doing. This is mostly on the back where there's more of this fabric. The front is much smaller and much easier to do. But I'm going to start there, and I'm going to go with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, but little by little I'm going to make it wider, although I'm not really making it wider, I'm changing the direction. Because once I get that stitched, I'm going to be trimming this off. So you don't want a real big curve, but a slight curve is fine because this is going to be the back of the backpack. And if it's bowed a little bit at the back, that'll be fine. It'll just hold more stuff. You just don't want it extreme. So I'm going to start there, and right about here, I'm going to start curving inward and make my own seam line. I'm going to shape the fabric by where I stitch. So, and then, so we sew that, we take the pins out, and we sew this and take the pins out. And then, what you would do after this point, if you want to keep it as a skirt, you can do a couple of things. You can turn it under, because it would be under from the right side. You can either turn it under twice, a 1/4 inch at a time, make a regular jean hem, or you can simply stay stitch along the edge, and that's always nice in an old jean skirt, is to have a little fraying at the end. So that's in the skirt portion. As far as the backpack goes, I may add a pocket to the front of it. And after we get these back seam and front seam sewn, I will then be turning it right side out and placing a pocket where I want the pocket. So this is video 4, and what you're doing is you have already ripped out your seam allowances. You can tell this is the front because there are the pockets that are built into the jeans. There are the patch pockets on the back. So you want the 2 rear sections sewn into one piece across the back, and the 2 front sections sewn in one piece across the front.